Hello, my name is Alison King. I'm the Literacy Lead and Librarian at King's Monkton School in Cardiff, and I'm also the Welsh Judge for the Carnegie and Kate Greenaway Medals for 2020 and 2021. I'm here today as part of the National Shelf Service, which is a national initiative that allows librarians like me to offer up recommendations for book lovers like you. So today I've been asked to share 3 recommendations with you. I've been asked to share a picture book, a middle grade book, and a book for slightly older readers. I've got some amazing books to talk about, so let's dive straight in. The picture book I'm sharing with you today is called This Is a Dog. It's by Ross Collins and was published by Nosy Crow. Now, the eagle-eyed among you will have noticed that it was initially supposed to be called My First Animal Book, but Dog has very helpfully come along and crossed that out for us and written in his own title, which basically sets the tone for the entire book. So Dog arrives on the very first page and proceeds to run riot through a book that was supposed to be about lots of different types of animals. He's lovable, he's exuberant, he's full of fun, but unfortunately he's not very patient and he's not very good at taking turns. So as he charges through the book, stealing the show from all the other animals, they do start to get a little bit cross, and he has to come up with a cunning way to outwit them. This Is a Dog works really well when read aloud. There's plenty of humour for parents to enjoy as well. It's not a book you're going to tire of easily. In fact, it gets funnier with every single read. Now, at the time of filming, this book wasn't available through libraries digitally, but it is available in physical format, or you could purchase a copy and support your local independent bookstore. Ross Collins's other titles are available through libraries digitally, and I would encourage you to go and explore his body of work because he's incredibly talented and they are very funny books. So that's This Is a Dog by Ross Collins, published by Nosy Crow. Now, for my middle grade recommendation, I have chosen a book called The One and Only Ivan by Catherine Applegate, published by HarperCollins. And this won the Newbery Medal in, I think, 2013. It's the story of Ivan the gorilla, who is living in quite unusual circumstances for a gorilla, actually. He's living in a cage in an American shopping mall. And when we first meet Ivan, he is very much occupied by his day-to-day routine, which is a little bit sad for a gorilla. But he doesn't think too much about where he came from or life before that cage. But all that changes with the arrival of a new friend in the form of a baby elephant called Ruby. As their friendship grows, Ivan starts to remember things. He starts to remember his family before the cage. He starts to remember his home before the cage. And he starts to remember the events that led up to him ending up in the cage. As their friendship flourishes, Ruby opens Ivan's eyes to the possibility that there might be a better life out there for him and a different life out there for him. So it's really a story about compassion and friendship and also loss. And it's beautifully written. I shed a tear or two over this, and you should probably be prepared for that. It's inspired by a true story, which I would encourage you to go and research because it is incredibly moving. And there's a sequel out this year as well. It's called The One and Only Bob, and that explores the further adventures of one of the pivotal characters in this book. So that's The One and Only Ivan by Catherine Applegate, published by HarperCollins, and this one should be available digitally through your library. And last but by no means least, we have a slightly more chilling title for our older readers. This is called The Monsters We Deserve. It's written by Marcus Sedgwick and published by Zephyr. There's a lot to be said about this book, but I need to try and keep it spoiler free, which is going to be challenging because I don't want to ruin the effect. It's one of those books that really lingers and stays with you. So definitely check this out, particularly if you like to be scared by your reading material. And if you've got a good imagination, that will double the impact, I'm sure. So The Monsters We Deserve takes place in and around a remote house set high up in the French Alps. And our narrator has isolated himself to craft a response to Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which is another excellent book that I recommend everybody goes out and reads. Obviously, isolation can do funny things to you, particularly if you're a creator and you have a good imagination, like I just mentioned, and a creative brain. So he's highly suggestible, and as time goes on, his imagination does start to play some tricks on him, and as he's in the process of creating this piece of work, he starts to feel like he's not as alone as he first thought. It's a chilling book, it really is, and it's deeply unsettling at points. It's dark, it's ghostly, it's very, very thought-provoking, and as I said before, it does really stay with you for a long time after you've read that final page. So I would highly recommend this book to slightly older readers. It is a bit scary, so be prepared for that. But again, most of the work is done by your imagination, which is triggered by the words on the page. It's incredibly evocative, beautiful, beautiful writing. And again, Marcus Sedgwick does have a huge body of work, which if you enjoy this, you should definitely go and explore. So that's The Monsters We Deserve by Marcus Sedgwick, published by Zephyr, and that's available digitally through your library. So we have come to the end of my recommendations. It's probably a good thing that I stop talking now, otherwise I'll go on for days. So I hope you've enjoyed the books that I've talked to you about today, and I really hope that you follow up on those recommendations and check out those titles and the additional works of those authors for yourself. Happy reading!